They're not with me.
Fellas, we have a very strict store policy against shoplifting.
Those are my trophies! Give them back!
So, I think we can safely rule out these places as hiding spots for missing people. These are too small. These are too public, and these are too obvious.
Or are they so obvious that they're actually the perfect hiding spot?
Interesting.
What are you doing? I'm bored. Messing with him. But now Lloyd's starting over.
Bakın niye bir şey gösterip matek demelikte pek
The city's under attack down there.
ya.
That's horrible. Terrible word.
There's a bunch of samurai and snake stealing.
Olamaz.
Took my trophies. My trophies. Any sign of Crux or Chronics?
Who?
Doesn't matter. Let's go.
Did you say perks on my
That
phone?
makes sense. Why are they after metal?
We can ask this all of them.
No. Might be a diversion shot away from the table.
I'm playing PUBG, the best game on earth. Yep. I didn't want laptop open.
5 more days.
You were in there somewhere. Of course, I have to boot you again. That's all I said, right? You still have to kill the body. You have to go to the village and back up. It stole from the wrong girl.
Hold on.
One-on-one, he grabbed that gun and killed my son. What happened? Do a fist fight, really with this shit. If a nigga pull up on me, might shoot a nigga dick right over niggas off and get coffee. Their brothers steady walking and see somebody get bitch at the apartment, but I got trust, motherfucking goddamn. This Glock, bitch, I fucking trust this blunt, bitch, I fucking trust my bitch. I don't fucking trust my lose my motherfucking trust this Glock, bitch, I fucking trust this blunt, bitch, I fucking trust my bitch. I don't fucking trust my lose my motherfucking trust. So what they love my auntie son up, my son fucking special on my motherfucking gun up. I like this sexy what they summer. They love the niggas off for young bitches wanting enough us. She fucked that pussy, she was 15. If she can open up the legs and she old enough to get Dixie. Because your parents want to flip C. You flip this script, got a nigga locked up some big shit. This clock, bitch, I fucking trust my bitch. I don't fucking trust this clock, bitch, I fucking trust my bitch. I don't fucking trust this clock, bitch, I fucking trust my bitch. I don't fucking trust this clock, bitch, I fucking trust my bitch. I don't fucking trust my
And something I take very seriously. I take other people's lives very seriously, and what they do with their lives, it affects me.
By the way, I'm playing PUBG. Lit. Watch it. Oh my god.
Binging for 6 hours straight. Did the TV just die?
Underwood is blind. Both eyes were removed when he was 3, leaving him with no vision at all. So how on earth does Ben do this? And this? And even this?
I don't think I've ever come across somebody like Ben. He was quite unique.
Ben lost his eyes to cancer, but unbelievably, he's taught himself to see with sound.
If he chooses to go out there and ride that bicycle,
Let him ride the bicycle. That's gotta be very smart. Somewhere in there, there's some genius going on.
I don't consider myself boring. Ain't nothing wrong with me.
Ben Underwood and his family live in Sacramento, the state capital of California. It's an old city with roots in the Wild West, but Ben and his family live in the new outlying suburbs. Ben uses many common aids for the blind, like speaking software for the computer so he can jot down his rap lyrics. He's also written a book and does schoolwork on a high-tech braille writer. What's unusual, what's true, is what he doesn't use. Ben has no guide dog and never uses a white cane. He's not even using his hand. Instead, he sees with sound. He makes a sharp click which bounces back off nearby objects. Amazingly, Ben's ears pick up the echoes and he can precisely locate where things... Ben is the only person in the world who sees using nothing, echolocation.
Well, I've been able to tell where walls are and where things on the ground are. If I click down, then I can hear them easier. But if I'm walking, I'm just clicking over it. It's not to get it. And I can tell where desks are in the classroom and stuff like that. I can hear the wall over there, the couch over there. I can hear the wall behind me. I can hear the wall over there and the TV and the computer.
Ben, I need a towel for drying because I don't have all my towels. I'm not going to go get it.
Ben's echolocation is so good that at home his mum, Aquanetta, Uncle Kerry, and brother Isaiah make no allowances for his blindness at all.
When I was a little kid, I didn't really know he was blind. I just knew he was my brother.
Did he make it?
He's determined to do what he's going to do. And he refuses for somebody to label him as blind. You see this kid that has a whole different way of thinking. It's magic and it's real.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone quite as remarkable as Ben, nor have I seen anyone quite as remarkable as Ben's mom. And I think that's a lot of the secret to Ben's amazing talents.
He knows that there's nothing impossible for him. You know, and it's not. Whatever he wants to do. You know, I'll tell him he can see.
Aquanetta has refused to allow the loss of Ben's eyes to overshadow their lives. Ben was born perfectly healthy, with dark eyes like his mum. But when he was 2, she looked into his eyes and saw something was terribly wrong.
In his pupil, it looked like a marble, or, you know, when you shine a light at night on a cat's eye, and you know how that looks like a marble or like a light or fluorescent. And that's what it looked like. And within 3 days, it turned white.
In Ben's eye was a rapidly growing malignant tumor, retinoblastoma. It's a rare infant eye cancer that affects only 6 children per million.
If left to its own devices, it would be lethal. It would kill him. The disease would spread locally, and he would never be able to survive.
If Ben wasn't treated, it would quickly spread along the optic nerve and into his brain.
If it's not caught very early, often the treatment is to have to actually remove the eye in order to save the body from having it spread. And Ben, of course, had very aggressive treatment.
In an attempt to save his sight, doctors immediately began intense chemo and radiotherapy. But after 10 months, there was still some scattered tumor. Aquanetta had to make a critical, heart-rending decision.
I had a choice. I either could remove his eyes or try to keep on with more chemo and radiation to keep the vision. But the thing about it is that if you continue to try, and when if the cancer got down the optic nerve, they wouldn't live. So you have to make a choice. And my choice was, you know, to remove his eyes.
From the first dark moments, Aquanetta was determined that little Ben wouldn't think of himself as blind.
When he woke up from the surgery, and he said, "Mom, I can't see anymore. I can't see anymore." And I told him, I said, "Yes, you can see." I said, "You can see with your hands." And I put his little hands on my face. I said, "See?" And I said, you can see me with your nose. And I put my hand to his nose, and I said, you smell me? So you can see me with your ears. I said, you hear me? I said, baby, you can't use your eyes anymore, but you still have your hands and your nose and your ears. I said, baby, you can...
Jeez. Dale, cold weather has triggered joint pain that just keeps getting worse.
My legs, my feet, my arms, everything hurt.
Treatments for arthritis and an old back injury didn't do any good, so doctors ran extensive blood tests to find another diagnosis and uncovered a new, seemingly unrelated illness.
I'm sorry to say that you've got leukemia. Chronic lymphocytic leukemia, to be exact.
Chronic lymphocytic leukemia is a slow-moving cancer that affects particular types of white blood cells called lymphocytes, which help the body fight infection. Dale begins chemotherapy to treat his leukemia. But despite heavy doses of morphine, his mysterious pain only gets more unbearable.
I was doing a lot of morphine at the time. The pain would come in like a wave, just overtake me.
And then it gets worse.
Caroline! My fingers started changing.
The tips of his fingers turn purple.
You better check your toes.
My toes started turning slightly purple.
Dale is admitted and begins receiving an IV vasodilator to increase blood flow to his extremities. But the drugs do nothing to alleviate the pain in his feet. A vascular surgeon is brought in to assess Dale's condition. The discoloration is spreading up his leg.
You could almost sit there and watch it change. It was so fast. It went from normal color to black charred.
Unable to diagnose his condition, his doctor has given him an agonizing choice to save his life.
I'm afraid your toes are beyond saving. We're gonna have to amputate them.
I was still in pain, a lot of pain, and it didn't matter to me what they did. Fine.
How can you say that amputation is the best treatment option when you don't even know what's wrong with him? I'm sorry. We're not going to consent to this.
I just didn't understand it. There's no reason for him to have those taken off. Unless they knew what it was.
Please.
Carolyn makes a frantic attempt to move Dale to a major hospital nearby that has a reputation for diagnosing rare diseases. Dale is transferred by ambulance and admitted to the second hospital for further testing. His case is assigned to a hematologist who specializes in rare blood disorders. He quickly offers a new diagnosis.
It's a type of vasculitis, but there are many kinds, including a very rare one linked to leukemia. We're going to need some more tests.
Vasculitis causes the walls of blood vessels to thicken or scar, restricting blood flow. This can then cause organ and tissue damage. The doctor offers his diagnosis.
Dale has type 1 cryoglobulinemia.
Cryoglobulinemia is the presence of abnormal proteins in the blood. These proteins thicken in cold temperatures. Type 1 is most often related to a blood cancer like leukemia.
Is there a cure?
Anti-inflammatory drugs and plasma filtering could rid Dale's blood of the abnormal protein.
With cryoglobulinemia, sometimes we have to remove the plasma from the blood so as to remove these abnormal proteins before they...
It was amazing to know that it was something that they could stop in its tracks.
Doctors are unable to save Dale's necrotic toes, but they are able to halt the damage done to his other tissue.
4 toes were taken off, and the pain went away. I was told to stay home, but I eventually had to get back to work because I just couldn't just sit around the house all day long. Every day I was feeling better. I mean, continuing to feel better every day.
Where are you going?
Garage. A miracle, oh my God. You know, it was wonderful. It was the best news ever.
Nick's life is being torn apart by what seems to be severe alcoholism.
How much does Nick drink? I'm not drinking behind your back.
To prove him wrong, his wife Karen videotapes him with her phone.
How could I be drunk? I've been sitting here with you.
Yeast in his GI percent higher amount of yeast in his
Morning, Nick wakes up with what seems to be a hangover.
You're looking better.
What do you mean?
You seemed pretty hammered last night.
What are you talking about?
She shows him the evidence.
Not so good.
The video looks exactly like she says. It looks like I'm drunk.
No, I didn't even have a sip of alcohol.
I know. I was right beside you the whole time.
Nick had no idea how bad it was about to get.
Son of a... I was 1 block from my home when I was struck by another vehicle. It was their fault.
I didn't know you were stopping.
I phoned the police to have them come out to make a report.
The police arrive. Nick is not behaving like he's drunk.
I was just talking. These guys, they just ran right into me.
They directed their focus on me, and I wasn't sure exactly, but it became clear quite quickly.
Sir, have you been drinking today? No, I'm home. Did you go ahead and do a mental test?
I'm not conscious that I'm acting drunk.
3 times the legal limit. That's awesome.
I was blown away.
Sir, you're under arrest for driving while being intoxicated.
Dr. Anoop Kanodia is a specialist in functional medicine.
The idea of functional medicine is we use the best of conventional medicine, add on integrative medicine, but have a whole system of care based on the latest science.
So, Nick, I see you've been through quite a lot. Would you be up for some more tests? What kind of tests?
I'd like to run a comprehensive stool test. It will analyze digestive enzymes, test for bacteria, parasites, tolerance to gluten.
He's already done those tests.
According to his chart, not one is comprehensive.
We'll get this done.
The results come back. Finally, one test has yielded a promising clue.
Nick's yeast levels are off the charts.
What's that mean?
He had 100% higher amount of yeast in his GI tract than the average American.
This excess yeast was fermenting inside Nick's digestive tract, turning his stomach into a distillery. This would explain his severe abdominal pain and his bouts of drunkenness.
It's called auto-brewery syndrome.
The diagnosis is a rare condition that had not yet even been officially recognized.
Is there treatment?
There is.
Dr. Kanodia puts Nick on a diet designed to avoid foods containing yeast.
We have to do anything that's going to feed the yeast.
Dinner!
So we took out the breads, the rices, all carbohydrates other than veggies. In medicine, it's called the pleiotropic effect, which is you make small changes that have profound effects.
That looks...
Just like what the doctor ordered.
After a few weeks, the new diet begins to have a noticeable effect.
After urologists, endocrinologists, a dozen procedures with a dozen different pathways to go, it all came down to him changing what he ate.
8 wings for just a mere portrait of yours truly.
Cool story, bro.
Shut up, Dave. It is a cool story. At Pizza Hut, with a $5 lineup on your favorite, just all we can eat. Yeah.
These are the untold stories of the ER.
Sir, what seems to be the problem today?
My legs, they don't work no more.
Squeeze my thumbs? This prisoner came in with a complaint that is so vague. Came in just saying that his legs were weak and he couldn't walk. And I'm thinking, he can't walk. Yeah, right. Okay, what's your name?
Garcia.
Okay, Mr. Garcia, a couple times. How long have you been in that uniform?
A week.
Usually when I'm getting my history from the prisoners, I always ask them how long they've been there. Because it gives me a little bit of information of what else could be going on. This gentleman actually only been in for like a week.
I can't see anything. It's too dark up here.
What's going on?
Dr. Trevan Jasper has just found out one of his prisoner patients has escaped.
Patient just went through the ceiling.
Are you okay?
Be careful, Bakal. Don't get trapped in a corner.
Get this place locked down.
What happened?
Well, we was outside while we was getting scanned.
Everything breaks loose. Prisoners crawling up in the ceiling. The officers are going, hey, where is he? And this ED was big, actually. Had multiple sections. So you could crawl for a while if you were lucky.
Dr. Trevan Jasper is in the middle of a diagnosis when he is suddenly interrupted.
Hey, what's going on?
Can you go get more hospital security?
What's going on, man?
You're thinking, man, this is crazy. I got this guy crawling around. Maybe he's not trying to escape. Maybe he knows that the other guy's there, and he's trying to get to him. Who knows?
Carl, you scared the crap out of us down here.
So the only thing I can think of is that it has to be something with his spinal cord. An inflammatory process or myelitis. So we're going to need to get an MRI on Mr. Garcia. Can you guys help us? We're going to need to roll Mr. Garcia and do a rectal exam before we send him over to MRI. So on my count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Whoa, wait.
Get your hands on your head.
The guy had fallen through the ceiling, and bam, they caught him. I mean, I'm thinking, wow, this guy's crazy. He's brave, but he's crazy.
But Dr. Jasper is focused on a new finding.
Mr. Garcia, what's this lesion on your thigh?
What's what, the?
Right there on the inside of his thigh was a red lesion. It's like a tick. The tick embeds into the skin, and it's usually a female tick that has larvae. So when they get engorged, they release a neurotoxin. Do you own dogs, Mr. Garcia?
Yeah, pit bulls.
And it comes about 5 to 7 days after the tick has been embedded. The thing that was important about it was that the prisoner had been there for 7 days.
Can I have some tweezers, please? Hey, what are you doing?
I'm going to take these tweezers and get as close as I can to your skin. And I'm trying to get the head so I can pull it out. Because if the head breaks off and you leave that in, it actually still could be some neurotoxin. So you have to do it very, very carefully.
These are the untold stories of the ER. Two patients have arrived in the ER, attacked by men with Turkish swords called scimitars. Dr. Carolyn McLean treats one who's lost his arm. Next to her, Dr. Nathan Unkefer treats the second victim.
Young guy, mid-20s, who has lacerations all over his chest and his arms. And some of them were deep, but no major arterial bleeders, and they didn't look too serious. In the periphery of my vision, I could see that next door there was a young man that had his arm cut off. And there was quite a bit of commotion. There was blood everywhere.
Jeez, what happened to you?
It was crazy. I was just standing at the bus stop, and 3 men came up with scimitars. And they just started slashing.
Scimitars at a bus stop?
Yeah, crazy, huh?
Come open that.
No? Wait a minute. Do you guys know each other? Do you two know each other?
No.
Well, what bus stop were you at? Look, I'm trying to find his arm here. Can you remember where you were? What bus stop were you at? Raul, it's late. And you're missing an arm. You gotta tell me where you were and what.
I can't believe, honestly, that there's 3 guys with swords at 3 a.m. in the morning to take bus cars.
Where were you guys?
Because you're essentially looking at 2 patients with the same injury pattern from a very farcical story.
Where did you find this?
Last place he left it.
Whoa, did I just see that?
At the bus stop?
At the house.
Clearly, this was this kid's arm, and they did not find it at the bus stop 3 blocks away.
Hey, Jenny, labs back yet? Yeah, to be honest, I'm feeling a little pumped. Do we have CT results yet? I gotta go look at him. Give me about 5 minutes. Tyson, how you doing?
The same. Not much.
In this situation, I really have to determine, is this guy injured? Does he need further care? Or does it stop here? Does he go to prison? And his cervical spine is?
Pristine. I mean, there's absolutely no bony abnormalities.
I'm not seeing any left tissue swelling. Nothing. To have this degree of paralysis and sensory deficits, I would expect to see something.
Why don't you just send him to county and let a neurosurgeon examine him?
Yeah, but if this guy's faking it, it's an hour and a half on the road, and that's an awful lot of time for something bad to happen. Are you really convinced this guy has a significant injury?
I mean, I don't know. You can't deny him medical care based on a hunch.
I've been doing this a while, and there was something about this whole situation that didn't fit.
Warden says we can transfer him to county as soon.
Ouch! That's got to feel better.
Nurse Terry Foster knows that weekend nights in the ER can get a little crazy.
I finally got that costume off the drunk girl in 3.
Figured out what she's supposed to be.
Harlequin meets Naughty Piggy.
Thanks for the insight. I'll get started on her.
Okay.
Terry!
Yeah. Friday and Saturday nights in the emergency room, we get a lot of drunks in. Hi, I'm Terry.
Hello, Sherry. Hey, what are the chances of getting a cocktail around here?
Buddy, the only cocktails we have here are in syringes. When I first saw Walt, I could tell he was intoxicated just by the way he was walking in. What's your name? Walt?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Let's get you back here and set you down, okay? I'm going to hold on to you. You okay?
It's good.
You all right? Okay. I knew he was intoxicated, but I also knew he was injured. When you see a person who has alcohol on board, you don't know if the symptoms are from the alcohol or a head injury. What happened to you?
High school reunion. 20 years. Me and some of the boys went to the bar afterwards, and some guys at the table beside us were throwing shade about our old school.
So, bar fight?
Cliche, huh? Pretty stupid, too. Wife is gonna kill me.
What'd you get hit with?
Beer mug.
Let's take a look. Oh, yeah. He did a pretty good laceration on his scalp. Okay, all right. I'm going to go tell the doctor, and she'll come in and take a look at you, okay? Now, don't get up, Walt. I need you to stay right there, okay?
I'll be here.
Okay, deal. Oh, yeah.
Nurse Terry Foster's patient is suffering from a severe head laceration and too much to drink.
Okay, deal. Hey, Walt. This is Dr. Lynn. Right there.
Charmed, I'm sure.
Let's get CT and skull films first.
Oh my god.